right thing. Now, I am always reminding people that Florida has been ranked #1 economy in the U.S. 3 years in a row by CNBC. We've been ranked #1 overall for education some years. We're in the top 2 or 3, 4, 5, but we're always near the top in those. We're #1 higher education, 9 straight years. #1 in education freedom, #1 for parental involvement in education, and on it goes. And we've done successful reforms like the progress monitoring. Like a lot of the students and parents and teachers got frustrated. I mean, most people acknowledge you got to have measurements. You got to know whether our kids are actually learning things, how schools are performing. So there's got to be some type of way to evaluate that. When you had a 1-year high-stakes end-of-year test, first of all, they cram for the test. What I found as a student, when you cram for a test, then you end up forgetting it once you take the test. Like if you just methodically learn, then it stays with you a little bit longer. So it created this impetus to do this end-of-year test. But then what happens is if a student was deficient in that somehow, well, they're on summer vacation. So how are you going to remedy that? Well, progress monitoring, periodic assessments throughout the year, the teacher, the student, the parent, they can get together and remedy when students aren't doing good. And what we found is steady progress for our students throughout the school year, and the metrics have been really, really strong. So we're proud of that. We're also proud of championing things that shouldn't really need to be a champion. It should just be something that everyone wants to do, but it's kind of fallen out of favor. Our emphasis on promoting American civics. And we've been doing that for years. I think it's very important leading into next year, which is going to be the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, and making sure our students, there's so much stuff that goes on post-secondary. We obviously have our university system we're proud of, but I think we all know, there are universities throughout this country that are printing degrees that are not worth the paper it's printed on. And students are going into debt for that. That's why we've promoted apprenticeships, trade schools, all these other things that are going to be there. And there's going to be a wide variety of ways that different students go once they leave our K-12 system. But all of them will be called upon to exercise the duty of American citizenship. And they need a foundation so that they can make sense of what's going on around them and be active citizens and have a good understanding of what the foundations of the country represent. So we have the civics and debate, the debate initiative, which has really blown up. It's been really, really fantastic. We also have the course that the instructors can go through. They get a $3,000 bonus, and they're really learning things that are really meaningful and are very timeless. So I'm proud of that. We are also looking at, and this is going to be something that is not going to be an issue that's going to go away, is how are we preparing students for the world as it's developing? If we were here 10 years ago, 15 years ago, everyone would say, well, people need to code and do this and do that. And many did. And many have done okay. I would say vocational education 10, 15 years ago in a lot of places was frowned upon. They said you're not going to be able to do as well. You got to go to a traditional 4-year college. And I think what we're finding now with the rise of artificial intelligence is some of those things, particularly on the lower level with computer coding, some of those are just going to be rendered obsolete because it's going to be done by AI. Some of these white-collar jobs where people told you go to college and do that, those could end up being obsolete. A lot of the trade stuff I think is going to be more valuable than ever to have those skills. So we're entering a period of, I think, major flux of how the economy works. And look, I've been very clear. My role as governor is to protect the well-being of the people of the state. It's not to allow computers to supplant the well-being of the people of the state. Artificial intelligence, some people are developing. It has a role, but it can't substitute for our responsibility to think for ourselves as human beings, and it's never going to be able to get to the point where it can reason as well as a human being. I know people try to say it will. I don't think, first of all, I see a lot of errors with artificial intelligence on some of this stuff, but it is going to be something that's going to be a more and more significant part of our economy. going forward. So how are we going to respond? I think we got to be very nimble in how we respond, both at the primary and secondary, but also post-secondary, because I think some of the folks have been put into certain pipelines over the years, and I think some of those pipelines, may end up being shut off by artificial intelligence overwhelming some of this stuff. So it's a fundamental issue for our time. We want to address it in ways that really protect the people of the state's ability to work hard and make the most of their own lives. I don't want to see this overtake reason, and I certainly don't want to see it impinging on people's freedom. We have the ability as policymakers to add protections where we need. They were trying in Washington to say states couldn't do anything on artificial intelligence. I mean, we just did with the legislature, we did a bill a few months ago where they were taking the likeness of this high school girl and putting her into pornographic videos. And it's like, shouldn't there be? I mean, there should be some recourse to that. Very traumatic experience. I think that's appropriate that we provided protections there. And there were folks in Washington that didn't want us to be able to do anything with it. So it's going to continue to be an important issue. And just please know we're thinking very, very deeply about how we can protect people and make sure people are able to make the most of their own lives with this. But it is going to cause disruption. Now, we have done a lot with supporting the rights of parents. We've done a lot with just having schools open when many places were not having them open back during the COVID-19 pandemic. We've also worked hard on expanding educational choice, both within school districts, within our charter system, and even with private scholarships. And parents, I don't think there's any state in the country where you're more empowered to make great education choices for your kids as you are in the free state of Florida. We're proud of that. We're happy to do that. But